Hello, this is Liz Mitten Ryan, author, artist, and animal communicator. You might have read some of the 5 books I have channeled through my herd. The herd, as they are known, are all one family of horses who for the last 20 years have been born, raised with love, and live in complete freedom here on our 320 acres of sacred land in Kamloops, BC. My horses and I offer life-changing spiritual adventures immersed in nature through our Equinisity retreats. You can find out more about us at equinisity.com. I'd like to share with you some lessons that my horses have taught me. There is only one consciousness in all life. If one creative life force is within people, animals, trees, and every single aspect of creation, including rocks and water, then why do humans feel they have dominion, or that they are somehow superior to all those other forms of consciousness? My animals call God the All, and have shown me that there is only one consciousness. That is our main thrust in all of the books and retreats. Creativity is so diverse and magnificent because the Creator exploded into all life so that we can absorb all those special aspects that every single component of life has to offer us. One is not better than the other. One is not superior to the other. When you look at the whole natural world, whether it's a bird or a horse or a whale or a dolphin, they are all connected to that higher consciousness. They are absolutely trusting of that. They are in their truth, which resides in the heart and in the moment, and they listen to their intuition. Those are the 2 qualities that my animals keep telling me over and over that people need to learn in order to be fully connected to that highest level of consciousness, where we can have a clear channel to the divine, and we can become our highest possibility in matter. With my horses, I start at birth. My horses are all born here. They are all one family, which is a really unique situation in the world of domesticated horses, because single family herds are typically wild horses. Most other horse families are usually made up of horses that people buy or are given. It's not a really solid foundational family group. I started with 4 mares, and I began breeding my mares to outside sires so that every member of my now 14-horse family is related. They have that history of being born into love and total acceptance and never face any pressure or punishment. They are recognized as spiritual equals, and they are honored for what they bring to the equation. It's a totally different starting point. From the moment my babies are born, I have a friendship with them. That's why I call our training methods, which were taught to me by the horses, natural horse friendship. They said, how about invitation and reward rather than pressure and punishment? Doesn't that make sense? You need to start with quiet, unstructured time. It's how we treat our friends. We don't say to our friends, get over here for dinner. I've got a big stick and I'm going to make you sit in a chair. and I'm going to feed you stuff you hate. Or I'm going to give you nothing at all, and I'm going to eat in front of you, and you don't deserve anything. Invitation and reward are how we treat our friends. From the moment my babies are born into my arms, they are simply loved. Every single aspect of our relationship is me showing them that I am their friend. I'm going to help them through life. I'm going to welcome their input. It's a completely different feeling that's pretty hard to replace when it has been taken away from a horse by our standard handling techniques. For example, imprinting. Imprinting is terrible. Only a man would conceive of the idea of imprinting. Imagine if when a human baby is born, the doctor takes it away, puts it on a cot, doesn't even let its mother see it, sticks needles in it, hurts it, spanks it, does every terrible thing that could happen to it in all of its life, and says, "There, you're done. We've totally broken your spirit, and now we'll be able to manipulate you because you've just given up." People suggest we do that to horses all the time. What I do is I welcome them into the world. Their mother loves and trusts me already. I help them ere birth. When the water breaks, I locate where the foal is. When she's having contractions, I help out so the birth is more gentle and easy. When the baby's born, I'm drying them off with a towel, and their mommy is licking them, and we're both loving them. They basically come into the world with two mothers. I'm their human mother, and they also have a horse mother. Every moment from then on is a positive interaction with humans. It's night and day how those horses trust and feel about humans. Most people have essentially made up a sort of adoptive family. It takes a certain amount of time to make sure those horses are going to be safe together, because you're bringing horses together from all different situations. They have to be carefully watched across fences until they develop a rapport, or until they start grooming each other, and until they start wanting to be a herd. Then they should be allowed to live in a herd setting. Most of the horses in the world, because of various reasons, maybe they're a show horse, maybe their owners are worried they'll get kicked or bitten. Whatever the reason is, they're kept in little separate paddocks like a cell block, often with electric fences, so they can't even touch or groom the horse next door. They're taken out and worked, and then they're put back in their cell block. This process destroys them. They wind up going so far inside of themselves and into their own sorrow that you don't even have a real, vibrant, animated, living creature anymore. Instead of these torturous conditions, I challenge you to think of your horses in the same way you would your human family, and provide them with better conditions for life. Even if you only have a few acres, allow them to have a good-sized lean-to so that they can get out of the sun, wind, and weather, and with some nice deep bedding that they can lie down in and be comfortable and sleep flat out. Give them the ability to come and go from that shelter on your 5 acres or 2 acres or 10 acres or whatever you have, and live a happy life with their horse family, whatever that horse family looks like. Because once they develop a family, it's important to them to have friends, to have freedom, to be able to roll when they want to roll, and to be able to lie down and sleep. You don't know how many times people have seen my YouTube videos and commented, "You must have drugged those horses. They're all lying down sleeping. They're snoring. They're this, they're that." Everyone is so used to the idea that horses sleep standing up that they can't possibly fathom a situation where horses would actually be comfortable and secure lying down. The truth is, my horses are simply comfortable and relaxed because I provide them with a safe and comfortable environment. They'll come in during the middle of one of my retreats and lie flat out in the barn near everybody's feet. They'll put their head on someone's foot if it happens to be right where they're going to lie down and use it as a pillow. Or they'll put their head in someone's lap if that person happens to sit next to them. They're always allowed that safe, comfortable haven to choose. Do I want to be on this side? Do I want to be on that side? Do I want to go run with my friends? Or do I just want to have a nap? I believe that horses, and even all animals, are beginning to shift the horse-human paradigm. A decade ago, nobody talked to their horse or their dog or their cat. And if you did, everyone thought you were an absolute lunatic. Now people call animal communicators all the time. We have horse therapy. We're looking at horses in a completely different way. People swim with dolphins simply to connect with them. What is happening is the animals are providing a whole new understanding of a different sort of a relationship based on connection and communication. And they are raising our consciousness to a level where there is a melding between human mass mind, horse mass mind, elephant mass mind, and higher universal consciousness. The more we are allowing that listening and being available to explore new avenues, the more stuff is rushing in. I get a lot of people at retreats now that say they have no interest in riding anymore and find it much more rewarding to just be with the horses, to meditate with them, or maybe play with them and learn some herd language. But the riding part is losing its draw. It's not as profound and powerful unless you have that connection first. I still love riding horses. They're majestic and beautiful. But they're my children, so the horses I ride, I birthed. We start playing when they're a couple of days old. I put my arm around them. I have one little guy who's now a month old. When he was 2 weeks old, he already came to the playground, an area of the property that I use to desensitize the horses to various scary objects, such as tires, colorful water noodles, and the like. And I said, "Can you touch the cone with your nose? Can you put your feet in a hula hoop?" He understood it all immediately. I think it's shared cellular memory. When a new baby arrives, he's grown in this herd, and they all understand this because I've spent so long working with them. We play together, and I pick up a hula hoop and hang it on his bum, and he thinks, "Oh, there's a hula hoop on my bum." Nothing is a big deal. I teach them on the ground to walk on, to whoa, to move the hind end, to move the front end, to back, only with my focus and intent. I'm not pushing, shoving, or increasing pressure. I'm just like the lead mare, and this is what my lead mare taught me. The lead mare simply has intent and focus. She walks through the herd, and the herd parts. She's not the dominant mare. A lot of people confuse the dominant mare with the lead mare. The dominant mare is about herd order. She normally is a younger sister of the lead mare, and she's a completely different animal. The dominant mare will bite, she'll kick, She'll ram you, and she'll do whatever it takes. The lead mare is the wise grandmother spirit who is in charge of the herd, who leads the herd to water and food and looks after them. So I become the lead mare, and everything I do is kind. Everything I do is for their benefit. So when I get on them, they're just looking up at me thinking, well, now that you're up there, where are those treats going to come from? Of course, I have them in my pockets, and I lean forward and give them to them. None of my horses, when I first get on them, would ever dream of running away, because they're waiting to turn around and say hi on both sides and get a treat. They don't want to go anywhere until they get their treat. That's what they'd rather do than run. I train them with a lot of words and body language. By the time I ride them, it's just no big deal. I get on and they go, really? You want me to walk with you on top of me now? It develops from there. I don't use bits. If I use a saddle, it would be a treeless saddle, soft like a glove. I have clip-on leather reins on a rope halter. I don't use a lot of pressure in any way. I just lift my energy to go and look in the direction I want them to move. And I drop my energy to stop riding. When I want to go to the right, I just turn my torso and ride with my eyes on my chest, as Sally Swift mentions. It's all very, very subtle. A lot of people feel like they need to use a baseball bat to train a horse when they really just need a feather. That's where I go with them. The first ride is so entirely uneventful. It's almost like they are afraid to go too far or too fast because I'm up there and they're looking after me. What surprises me most is when they actually act like an instinctual animal. I know how amazing they are and how connected they are on a consciousness level. But it's kind of funny because sometimes they have to go into their horse body and behave like a horse. That always blows me away because I see these higher beings and then I wonder how they can be so uncaring. In herd behavior, most of their inherited behaviors are for the safety and longevity of the herd. Some things they do that surprise me are if there's a horse that's compromised in any way, that's hurt himself, or isn't keeping up with the herd, or has to be separated from the herd for some reason, they absolutely ostracize them. Instead of going over there like a human would and saying, "Poor you, let me help you," and showing compassion, they go right into their horse survival mode and tell it to get out to the side of the herd. Die, you're jeopardizing us. I've spoken to them about this at length because just like in many different species, we all have things to learn from each other. I think horses have things to learn from humans about compassion. For example, one winter, one of my horses fell on an icy rock and slashed her stifle open and had to get several stitches. She was really in shock, and I put a blanket on her. Well, in my herd, they are just like a wild herd, and they don't do blankets. They grow winter coats. And if you put something different on a horse, you mark them. They think, "What's that? What are you doing wearing that?" And then they start ostracizing them. So my dominant mare at the time, who was quite a stickler when she was young, sent Epona, the one that hurt herself, to the edge of the herd. And every time Epona would try to come over and eat some hay or try to be part of the herd, the dominant mare would charge her and send her flying. So I went over to Diva, the dominant mare, and said, Diva, you're going to walk a mile in her shoes. Your behavior is completely unconscionable. I can't believe you would treat someone you know and love, who's a part of your herd, like this. So I put a blanket on Diva, and she was horrified. I said, see, are you any different because you have a blanket on? She was so mad, she was stomping and fuming. She was so angry that I had marked her. Once she had settled down, I asked her, do you want me to take the blanket off now? Do you get it? So I took the blanket off, and she left Epona completely alone after that. I think they have things to learn from us too. Just like a fox might have something to learn from a rabbit, or a whale might have something to learn from an eagle. We all have our individual experiences and our unique ways of reflecting and dealing with situations. We might have something to learn from other aspects of creation on how we can improve our material beings. When I interact with my horses, I like to give them a chance to choose. Instead of going out and saying, I pick you, we're going to go work, I'll say, who wants to play? And I love the fact that they choose you, the fact that they come willingly, the fact that they enjoy that interaction, the fact that they willingly do it at liberty and don't need someone to put a halter and a lead rope on and pull them. When I teach this concept of liberty, friendship, and play, I teach people with halters and lead ropes in the beginning. I give them 5 to 10 minutes with a halter and lead rope. If they don't develop that language and relationship, then they've got nothing when we take the halter and lead rope off. So they better make it fun. They better not pull. Like Hempfling, he has a very drapey, very loose lead line when he is working with a horse. He's not pulling. He's using that lead line as a connection tool, but he's moving them by his intent and focus. That's what we do here. We use it as a teaching tool, but we take it off very quickly. For the people who have developed a relationship with the horse is happy to go with them, follows them everywhere, and everything is peachy. To the people who haven't learned this lesson, the horse says, thank you very much. I'm going straight back to the barn now. The biggest mistake that people make is that they are too needy. Imagine you're going out on an online date. It's the first date. You're meeting this guy and you glom onto him and you're just way too needy. Is he going to think you're attractive? Is he going to want to spend more time with you? No, he's going to think you're desperate. Many people are desperate for a relationship with a horse without completely understanding what the horse is looking for. They're looking for a leader. They're looking for safety in a herd. When they choose you to be a herd mate, they want to make sure you're the lead mare, not the dominant mare, but the lead mare, who embodies the grandmother spirit, the wise one, who can look after them in any circumstance. When they choose to go with you freely, they want to feel safe. They want to feel protected and know their needs are going to be met. That's one mistake. Another is when you see people take the halters off and suddenly they're chasing the horse saying, come back, come back. And the horse is thinking, I'm out of here. You're way too needy. I don't want to spend any more time with you. However, if you do your homework and you learn to focus and use those basic tools, then when your horse takes off, you say, go then, go further. Then you become the stallion and you lead from behind and you send them even further away which is a bit like Monty Roberts' Join Up. When you send them away, they want to come and join with you because they're a herd animal. They don't want to be alone out there. I work with people in a huge space, approximately a 5-acre field, and I encourage them to start playing with their horses with halters. They develop a relationship, take the halter off, and for a while the horse is with them until they make a mistake, like chasing the horse, being too needy, or losing their focus. Then the horse takes off, and I tell them to send the horse even further. I say, go then, go. They send them a little further, and very quickly the horse turns around and wants to be with them because they're the power person, the head of the herd. The person that truly knows this game is the person the horse wants to spend time with. Being too needy is a big mistake. You need to truly understand what you want to achieve and how, and then you have to be the leader. Otherwise, the horse says, forget it. I'm going to be the leader. I'll take over the lead because you're not going to look after us. There's a lot of natural horsemanship clinics. They'll go about it in different ways, but most of them are about asking the horse to do something or else they'll increase the pressure. They go through phases starting gentle, then harder, then whack, the bite. They say horses bite, so we should bite. What I teach is to spend time with your horse in a round pen, a riding ring, or a pasture, and simply hang out with them. I liken it to starting a new relationship or romancing your horse. Every time you go and hang out with your horse, it becomes something enjoyable for them. It feels good. Take brushes and groom them, not to get them clean, but to scratch their favorite places. You figure out what they like the most, and you do that. You might invite them to come and walk with you, and you have a few carrots in your pocket. You might spend time sitting next to them while they graze, or you might pick them some grass. You're developing a feel-good relationship with your horse. So when they see you coming, they don't worry that you're coming to put a halter on them, ride them, train them, or do something they otherwise don't like. You become their ally and their friend. You go to your horse and say, hey buddy, where's your favorite spot to be scratched? Or do you want to come for a walk over to this great patch of grass? You start to develop that sort of relationship, and by watching a herd, you start to learn herd language. You'll notice that horses have a subtle herd language. They walk towards a body part with determination and focus, and the other horse will move it. If they don't move it, then maybe there is a repercussion. I teach that beginning part with just a halter and a lead rope. I walk towards their hind end with focus and ask them to move. All my horses know to move because it's inherent. It's herd language. 90% of horses will respond. If the focus doesn't work, then you point your finger. If your finger doesn't work, swing the end of your lead rope. If they are incredibly obtuse, then you might have to lightly tap them with the end of the lead rope until they connect. It doesn't have to be a crack with a carrot stick. It can just be a light reminder that you have made a request. You start moving your horse's body parts because the lead mare, or even the dominant mare, asks the horse to move their feet, and when the horse moves their feet, you become a leader. In the same way, the lead mare walks ahead of a horse. You can gain tons of points if you walk with a drapey rein, as Hempfling does. When you walk with your horse, always walk ahead, because the lead mare walks ahead. You can do the same thing by taking off the halter in a round pen and combing the ground behind them with a soft whip. I use Carolyn Resnick's whips because they're soft and they make a little flick if you need them to. They're also very gentle and suitable for desensitization. I stir up the ground behind the horse and send them off like a little mini join up, moving the body parts, walking ahead, leading from behind, which is what the stallion or the dominant mare does. They tell them to go. Move your feet. I'm taking your place. Very quickly, they learn you're above them, so they choose to be with you. They want to be with you. All of those ground games convey the message that, number one, you are in control and you can look after them. Number two, you have nothing but their welfare in mind. Like the wise grandmother spirit, you're going to take them to food and water. You're going to have a great time with them. There are many exercises you can do. Take your horse for a walk and feel good, being mindful of putting yourself in the right position while you're doing it. We have so much we're doing here, teaching foundational ideas. I'm not a horse trainer or a horse rehabilitator. What I do is showcase how it can be when everything is perfect, using herd language, communication, and connection. Generally, horses need to be loved. They need to be considered. They need connection. Above all, they need love. I unconditionally love my horses. I think they are the most beautiful, amazing beings. I want their highest good in everything. I don't want to command them. I don't want to control them. I want to make them happy. What they want is to have a relationship with someone who is like the wise lead mare, someone who wants to look after them and wants to love them. What I think all the animals on the planet are doing now are raising the level of vibration to a higher plane of consciousness. We're moving from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. I think it's a higher dimensional consciousness compared to what we've been aware of our whole lives. This is happening on all different levels. In mathematics, they used to say A plus B equals C. In science, they used to believe that to prove a hypothesis to be true, you need several other scientists to run the experiment and get the same results. Now they're realizing that all the scientists are getting different results, mainly as a result of their belief system. Everything is changing. This is what I see the animals are helping us with, because they are entirely connected, clearly and continuously, with very high levels of consciousness. When you spend time in the natural world and with higher vibrational creatures, you get tuned like a tuning fork. It's just like you're a musical instrument, and when someone sounds the key of C, you start vibrating at the key of C. I counsel everyone to spend more time in nature, spend more quiet time, more time alone, more time with animals. It will literally change your vibration to one of wellness, wholeness, allness, and oneness. You'll be tuned by having your vibration raised to a place where you're listening to a different radio station than the one you were previously. All 5 of the books I've written have literally been channeled from what the horses have told me. It's not like I thought I'm going to write a book and I need to plan everything out. Instead, suddenly, information comes through and I realize it's incredible, and I start writing it down. I write as long as it's coming through, and then I finish and go back and read it. And I'm amazed. It didn't come from me. It came from my connection vibrating at the level where the channel was open and the information was allowed to flow through. There's nothing that we think of on our own. We open to consciousness, whether we're writing a symphony, painting a painting, inventing a machine, or writing a book. There's nothing that isn't already available, that doesn't already exist. We're just beginning to open to it and bring it forth on the physical plane. I believe lifestyle is essential. On our ranch, we have a big garden and we eat natural food. However, the biggest contributor that is universally true across the map for everybody, no matter who they are or where they live, is to be in your personal truth. Be in your heart space and in the moment, and listen to your intuition. The horses keep going on and on about that all the time. You're never going to find an animal who doesn't listen to their instinct or intuition. You're not going to see a fox who decides he could be more successful stockpiling rabbits to sell to other foxes so he can put lots of little green pieces of paper in the bank instead of merely eating when he's hungry. The ridiculous things that humans think are successful are often self-sabotaging. It's crazy that we believe the epitome of success is to have a large amount of money in the bank. Really, it's about why we came here as a higher spiritual being. Why did we choose to be incarnated on this physical plane? What calls to us? What is our unique ability that no one else has? We're all completely different. We're not all chefs. We're not all writers. We're not all musicians. The animals are as uniquely different as well, and they always listen. For example, if a bird is directed to fly south, you don't find one of them saying, "No way, I'm not listening to that. I'm going to do my own thing. I prefer to fly east." So why are we, as humans, so separate and apart from that higher directive, from our intuition, from our instinct? The horses keep saying over and over, be in your individual truth. Find out what it is that makes your heart sing. Why would you spend your life at a mundane job that you absolutely hate? You only get one chance at this life. So why would you allow other people, whether they are teachers, parents, or friends, to tell you what you should be doing with your life? Their signs of success may differ from yours, and you don't need to meet them. Why would you waste your life not doing what you chose to do before you came here and forgot who you were? Be in your truth, listen to your intuition. If you follow these 2 guidelines, you can't go wrong. Everything is always perfect. You cannot escape your destiny. You were born into your dream, so you need to look for your dream and focus on it. You need to trust that you will be guided in the best possible way. The minute you surrender to that stronger force that is present, everything just flows. Serendipitous things happen. It's not only perfect for you, but it also becomes perfect for every being on the planet when you do that. It becomes perfect for everyone you interact with and for all of creation. It's so apparent when you start surrendering to that higher guidance and discovering what your personal truth is and what makes you happy. That is the secret to life. You can only change the planet one mind at a time. My main experience at the Equinisity retreats is with middle-aged women who suddenly feel that they have a calling to find out why they came here, why they decided to incarnate in this world. They finally have the time and the finances to be able to figure this out as their children have grown up and their responsibilities have lightened. What I do is I change their minds, and they change their children's minds, and those children change their children's minds, and everything eventually tips. We all do it in our own way. You start with your circle of influence, and it will go up and down the line, depending on where it needs to go. Teach by example, as all of nature does, and guide your circle of influence with love and connection to higher truth. That's what my horses have taught me, and that's what I want to share with you.